My name is Naomi Bennett. I'm 31 and I write software for a living, which means I know exactly what a forged signature looks like once you know where to check. It was a Thursday afternoon in April when my mother called, her voice bright as a bell. "Sweetheart, it's happening. We're using Grandpa's trust to help your brother open the garage. You'll be so proud." I looked at my screen for a long moment. Then I said, "Funny. There's nothing left to use. I moved every dollar 3 weeks ago." She didn't know a folder already sat at the bank with her signature on it, claiming I couldn't manage my own money. Welcome back to Echoes of Betrayal, where quiet people finally speak. If this hits close to home, stay with me. To understand that call, you have to go back to January. I live alone in a rented townhouse outside Denver, with a rescue dog named Pixel and a filing cabinet more organized than most law firms. I've been the responsible one since I was maybe 9. Straight A's, first job at 15. The one who read contracts before anyone signed them. My brother Ryan is 27 and has been about to make it for a decade. A food truck that lasted 4 months. A crypto venture that swallowed our mother's savings. Every failure ended the same way. A quiet loan nobody expected repaid. The trust came from our grandfather, Walter Bennett, who built a small auto shop from nothing. He split it between me and Ryan, but mine sat in a fund only I controlled once I turned 25. By January, it had grown past $190,000, mostly from my own contributions. My mother, Carol, never once called it my money. She called it the family cushion, like the words alone made it true. That January, Ryan announced a new dream. A full auto restoration garage, logo already picked out. Nobody mentioned numbers out loud, which in my family has always meant the number is the entire point. Then on a Sunday, my mother texted, "Dinner Friday, 6 o'clock. Something important to discuss." I read it 3 times in my parked car, stomach sinking. Because in my family, something important has only ever meant one thing. My bank account. Friday came with the good dinnerware, which in our house is its own kind of warning. Roast chicken, my father Gary quietly refilling his water, Ryan practically glowing. My mother waited until dessert, then folded her hands like she was about to say grace. "We've been talking," she said, "and honey, that trust is just sitting there doing nothing. Ryan needs $60,000 for the garage." I set my fork down. "That trust is mine, Mom. Grandpa left it to me." The answer is no. The silence had weight. Ryan's jaw tightened. My father studied his plate, and my mother smiled at me, soft and patient, the same smile she'd worn my whole childhood. "Naomi," she said, "family doesn't keep score." I'd heard that sentence my entire life. That night, for the first time, I actually heard what was hiding inside it. The weeks after that dinner went quiet, which should have worried me more than it did. My family doesn't do quiet after a no. Instead, my mother got suddenly curious about my health. Was I sleeping? Was work too stressful? Was I still seeing my doctor over on Fillmore? In 30 years, she'd asked about my blood pressure maybe twice. Then Ryan texted asking if I still had copies of the paperwork from Grandpa's estate, just to update the file. I told him I'd look, and then I sat very still, because I reconcile numbers for a living, and this was a set of records that didn't match. That Saturday, I drove to my parents' place and found my father in the garage, elbow deep in an old Mustang he's been restoring since before I could walk. "Dad," I said, "what's Mom planning?" He wiped his hands on a rag, slow, buying time. "Your mother handles the paperwork, Naomi, always has." That single sentence was the whole man, an excuse and a confession folded together, though I wouldn't understand the confession part for weeks. I asked about the garage. He said, "Your mother thinks it'll finally settle Ryan down." And the way he said your mother did a lot of quiet work in that sentence. The call came on a Tuesday night while I was washing one plate and one fork. The dishware of a woman living exactly the life she can afford. I missed it. What I got instead was a 4-minute voicemail, pocket-dialed from my mother's kitchen. Pans clattering, water running, then her voice, casual as a grocery list. Once we're on the account, the garage deposit goes out first. Then we'll see about the rest. A cabinet door. Ryan's voice smaller. What if she finds out? And my mother with no more weight than a weather report. By then it's done. She'll be upset. Then she'll get over it. She always does. I played it twice. The second time I wasn't listening for the plan, I was listening to that last line. She always does. My whole job description in this family, printed on a 4-minute recording. I saved it not as a weapon, because no court cares about kitchen noise, but as an anchor, so that no matter what anyone said to my face later, I would never again doubt my own memory. My best friend from college is an estate attorney named Priya Shah, and Tuesday I sat across from her in a coffee shop and let her hear the recording through my earbuds. Priya has a poker face you could land planes on, but I watched her jaw tighten. Okay, she said. First, breathe. Second, this is a warning, not a case. Wanting access to an account isn't a crime. Then how would they even do it? I asked. It's my account, my name only. Priya stirred her coffee, thinking, then asked the question that rearranged my entire spring. Naomi, after your grandfather passed, when the family did all that estate paperwork, what exactly did you sign? In 2018, after my grandfather's first small stroke, our whole family sat with a lawyer and did the responsible thing. Wills, health directives, and a springing power of attorney, a document that stays asleep unless 2 things happen. I become incapacitated and a doctor certifies it in writing. The moment it wakes, my named agent can act on my finances as if she were me. My agent, chosen back when the word felt like a formality. My mother, Carol Bennett. Who keeps the original? Priya asked, gentle, like a nurse peeling back a bandage. My mom, I said. In a filing cabinet in her hallway. Neither of us said anything for a moment. Thursday morning, I took 2 hours off and did exactly what Priya told me. I signed a revocation of that power of attorney in front of a notary with a witness. We sent certified copies to the family lawyer and to Meridian Trust, the firm managing my account since I turned 25. I executed a new power of attorney naming Priya, someone whose loyalty I'd never had to buy with obedience. I changed every password, set alerts on every login, moved my mail to a locked box, textbook, except Friday. Priya called with the part they don't put in the textbook. The revocation is valid the moment you sign it, she said. But Meridian is a machine. Documents go into a queue. If someone walks in first with the old power of attorney and a doctor's letter, the firm has to sort out the conflict. And while they sort, they freeze everything. Months. And you'd be the one proving you're competent. I sat with that. Grandpa's seed money, 6 years of contributions, locked in a vault, while my family argued in writing that I was too broken to speak for myself. I looked around my small, clean kitchen, at Pixel asleep on the rug, at the life I'd built without a single handout. There was exactly one way to make my account not worth stealing. Empty it. People imagine cashing out $190,000 feels like a heist movie. It feels like homework. I spent the whole weekend at my kitchen table with a spreadsheet. Because I don't do anything angry that I can do accurately, which positions to sell, what the tax hit would cost me in April. A real number, 5 figures worth of real. I stared at it a long time before I typed accepted beside it. Call it the price of a fireproof life. Monday I opened a new account at a different firm across town. Titled in my name alone. Fresh email, maximum security, 2-factor everything. Tuesday night, with Pixel curled beside me, I pulled up the sell orders. All of it, every fund I'd fed since 25. My cursor hovered over confirm, and I'll be honest about the one moment I wavered. It wasn't the taxes, it wasn't fear of my mother. It was admitting, in writing, that the people who taught me to ride a bike had become a line item under risk. I clicked. The screen blinked, polite as a bank teller. Order received. And the unwinding of my family began. Trades take time to settle, so every morning I woke, fed Pixel, went to work, smiled at coworkers, and checked my balance like a farmer checking the sky. The account had stood at $190,000 and change. the day the selling started. Then the transfers began in batches to the new firm. Meridian's fraud desk actually called on the second batch, a polite man reading a script. Large outgoing transfer, verifying identity. Did I authorize this activity? Yes, I said. This is Naomi. Yes, I authorize it. You have no idea what those words felt like in my mouth. After weeks of learning my own mother was assembling paperwork to say I couldn't speak them. On the last transfer, I did something no spreadsheet suggested. I didn't zero it out. I typed a figure that left exactly $12.25 behind. A number only 2 people alive could read like a signature. Then I closed the laptop and made tea, and my hands were steady, which frightened me a little. May was the strangest month, because I was the only person at the table who knew the ending had already happened. My mother turned sweet. Not regular sweet, negotiating sweet, arriving with casseroles. Brian posted logo mock-ups online, and our aunt commented rows of sparkle emojis. I sat in my kitchen watching a countdown only I could see. Then, over dish soap at my father's birthday dinner, my mother asked, light as lint, whether I could send her a copy of my driver's license and insurance card. For the family file, honey, just in case. I dried my hands slowly. I'll take care of my own file, Mom. A flicker crossed her face, gone under the next smile like a fish under ice. Driving home, I finally admitted what my body had known for weeks. Whatever the plan was, it had a deadline, and I could feel it ticking. What happened during the first week of June, I didn't witness. I reconstructed it later, the way you reconstruct anything from timestamps in a fraud file. A package arrived at Meridian Trust overnight, professionally assembled. Inside, the 2018 power of attorney bearing my real, notarized signature. Behind it, stapled like a key behind a door, a letter on medical letterhead, Fillmore Family Health, my actual doctor's practice, or something wearing its face. The letter stated the patient, Naomi Ann Bennett, was suffering a major depressive episode with cognitive impairment, high functioning but unable to manage her financial affairs, and that activation of her power of attorney was medically appropriate. Signed with a doctor's name, dated the same week my mother was complimenting my hair and asking for my driver's license. Attached, a cover sheet requesting Meridian recognize Carol Bennett as acting agent and add Ryan as an authorized party, so the family could manage the situation with discretion. My mother worked the front desk of a medical office for 11 years. I'm not saying anything. I'm just showing you the ledger. The first ripple was an automated email, gray as gravel. Documents received regarding your account under review. A Meridian specialist called Fillmore Family Health to verify the letter. Standard practice. The office had no record of it. The signature didn't match the doctor's. The package moved to the fraud unit that same afternoon. 2 days later, my mother called, bright and triumphant. The voice from the start of this story. Sweetheart, it's done. We added Ryan so he can access your account. The deposit goes out Friday. I gave her the number the way I'd give it to any client. Funny, I cashed it all out weeks ago. There's $12.25 left. The silence had furniture in it. Ryan's voice rose in the background. She's lying, check the app. My mother did not say sorry. She said, how could you do this to your brother? I ended the call the way you close a client file, said I loved them, and set the phone face down. Within a week, my phone was a switchboard, an aunt syrupy with concern, a cousin asking if I'd cut everyone off. The family group chat filled with an old photo of me captioned, "Keep our girl in your prayers." The fiction built to steal from me had become the alibi for having tried it. Then my father texted, "Call me, just you." He picked a hardware store parking lot, neutral ground. "The letter," he said, eyes on the pavement. "There's a witness line. That's my handwriting." My mother told him it was protection paperwork, and he signed where she pointed, believing her. Thursday evening, a week before I was due to give a statement to the police, my doorbell rang. My mother stood in my hallway holding a casserole dish like a white flag. She'd never once visited my townhouse before. She toured it like an inspector, then set an envelope on my table. Not an apology, A job application, Ryan's handwriting, ready to mail. He's going to work, see everything can go back to normal. I just need one thing. She laid it out, rehearsed. Tell the detective it was a misunderstanding, that you'd agreed the family could step in. One sentence, baby, and this all goes away. Families protect each other. I asked her the only question left. Mom, are you sorry? She reached for the oldest tool on her belt. Everything I did for this family. You always land upright. He didn't need it the way she does. I said it quietly. You're right, Mom. Family doesn't keep score. That's why you never noticed I was the only one paying. She stood so fast the chair barked on the tile. Then you are no daughter of mine. I opened my front door and held it. Drive safe, Mom. She left the casserole. The lock clicked, soft as a period at the end of a very long sentence. The Economic Crimes Unit worked out of a building with all the charm of a filing cabinet, which honestly I found comforting. The detective was thorough, the way I'd go through a client's shoebox of receipts. The dinner in April, the voicemail, the liquidation, the forged letter, the 1225. She slid the scan across the table and asked if anything stood out. I looked at my own name in that clinical font and told her the last true thing I had. The header has my name right, Naomi Ann Bennett. But halfway down, one line calls the patient Naomi Ray. My middle name is Anne. My mother's best friend growing up was named Ray. She always said she wanted it for one of us. And Dad overruled her. She's the only person alive who makes that slip. The detective wrote for a long while. I signed the statement. Every page, my whole name at the end. It's a strange feeling spending your signature like that. After a lifetime of it being a service, this one belonged entirely to me. Nobody went to prison. I never wanted that. My mother was accepted into a pretrial diversion program. First offense, restitution of administrative costs. A class, a period of staying clean, after which the charge gets dismissed. She tells relatives it was a misunderstanding I blew out of proportion, and most find it easier to believe her. Because believing her costs nothing, and believing me cost Christmas. Fillmore Family Health now confirms every letter by callback. Ryan took the front desk job, the same application our mother used as a prop on my kitchen table, the closest thing this story has to a joke. My father is still in the garage with the Mustang. Some men rebuild the same engine for decades, so they never have to fix anything that talks back. My money sits at the new firm, under one name, mine, with Priya on a power of attorney that only springs for licensed strangers. In September, Meridian mailed me the balance of the old account. A check for $12.25. I didn't cash it. It's framed on the wall above my desk, next to a photo of my grandfather beside his first tow truck. On Thursday nights, it hangs there while I teach a free class at the library. Budgets, beneficiaries, what a power of attorney really signs away, to a room full of people who, sooner or later, stay after to tell me about a signature they gave someone because they loved them. I used to believe love meant being the one who always pays. Here's what I know now. In every family that claims it doesn't keep score, somebody is quietly keeping it for you. So keep your own books. Sign nothing out of guilt. And remember, $12.25 of truth is worth more than $190,000 of keeping the peace. If this reminded you to check your own paperwork, your power of attorney, the names on your accounts, take that as your sign. And if you know someone who's always the responsible one, send her this. I'll see you in the next echo.